I wonder if you know the story of Star Daly, said to be one of the most notorious criminals in all of England in the early 1900s. And one source described him like this: he wanted to be the kind of man who walked into a town and even the police shuddered in fear, so he embarked on a life of crime. Well, Star Daly, his career as a real tough criminal, is said to have started when he was a small boy in a school classroom. And his parents had just passed away like a few months before this one incident, when his teacher had called him to the front of the room to read a simple passage. And he was timid, and so he shyly just stumbled to the front of the room, and he attempts to read his assigned lines. And little Star Daly began to stammer as he's reading, and the other children started to chuckle. And finally, there was this open laughter in the room, and he looked back at his older sister for support. And you see, his sister was the last person really to take care of him after his parents died. And so with hurt and humiliation, he looked back at her for her support, and she was just laughing. She was all covered up, just laughing as hard as she could. He turned to the teacher for some support there, and obviously she couldn't keep her laughter down, and little Star Daly was just crushed. Any other child might have found this to be a humiliating, growing experience, if you will, and we've all had experiences somewhat like that. But Star Daly, however, what he did was he went into a rage. He slammed his book shut. He threw it against the wall as far as he could, and he ran towards the door, and he shouted to his classmates and to the teacher, and he said, "You will fear me. You will hate me, but never again will you laugh at me." And he ran from the classroom, he ran from the school, he ran from the town, never to be seen again. In his teens, he became a major criminal, moving from crime to crime, from jail to jail, and for 4 decades, he robbed, he killed, and he terrorized innocent people. But one day, in 1933, something happened that changed his life forever. And at the time that it happened, he was in solitary confinement. And as he just laid there in his tiny cell, there weren't really many thoughts that were going through his head, yet something happened that I will refer to as the great moment. In an instant, he was completely transformed. It wasn't an outer transformation. Nothing outside of him made him be transformed. No guards ran over to him to open up the cell. The guards still knew him as the same old troublemaker, but he knew that he was profoundly different. He did not receive any kind of burst of intelligence, but he was at peace now. And he knew that he had just let go to something greater. He had just let go to a power greater, a greater love than himself. He was profoundly changed inside, and he felt that he was loved with an everlasting love. And he was in this state of great bliss that lasted for a very long time. And he had not been praying for this, it just happened. And he knew that his life would never be the same. And then one day, the unbelievable happened. The prison gates, they opened. He walked out, never to return again. He was now free to follow a new path. What happened to him and what he did after the great moment is told in a little book that he wrote entitled "Love Can Open Prison Doors." Maybe some of you are familiar with that. It was one of the top bestsellers for many, many, many years. My friends, there comes a time in the life of every individual when they experience this type of great moment. One thing is for certain. After we have experienced the great moment, you will never be the same again. We will think differently about ourselves, and we will think differently about other people in our lives. So what is this great moment? It is being awake. It is being awake to the pure essence of God. And many that have had near-death experiences describe this pure essence of God as just love. Pure love. A type of love that is greater than what we can ever imagine, greater than the love that we might have for a person or a pet, greater for the love that we might have for chocolate, for instance. And believe it or not, each of us have had glimpses, each one of you have had glimpses of this pure essence of being, of God in our lifetimes. Each of us have had those great moments. It is the moment when you have a genuine awakening. These moments are called keyholes, where it's like you're looking through a keyhole in a door, seeing and knowing the whole pure nature of God. It's like you're peeking through there, and you look and you experience, and you are not in Kansas anymore. You've had a transformation. It is being it is being present to the right here, is being present to the right now, with no inner chatter. It's just God. It's just pure essence of being. It's pure love. And you have this great understanding that you are loved beyond measure. The same thing happened to the spiritual teacher, Mirabai. I think I always say it wrong. Mirabai. Anybody know who she is? Yeah, oh, you guys, did I say it right? Mirabai? Mirabai Devi, right. Where she had been battling depression for years. And she had this glimpse through the keyhole. And it was a fleeting thought. She had this just fleeting thought that opened up this keyhole for her. That love is an activity of the divine that comes from within. And she had the great moment. And this is how she relayed her experience. She said, "It was like a dam burst in my heart and the waters overflowed like a flood. It was all-consuming and all-encompassing, and I could hardly contain it. I was so in love with the whole creation that I wanted to hug everyone I met." Of course I didn't. Probably a good thing. However, people responded in the most positive ways just to my energy alone. I saw that love was everywhere, in everything. I saw everything is connected, and everything is radiant with this exquisite, ecstatic love. You see, my friends, there is something extraordinary that can happen, that can completely change and transform lives when you open up and you accept the love that's already present right here, right now. You live and you move and you have your being in God in love. It is when we really get and really experience that we are loved beyond measure. In Jeremiah 31:3, it says, "Behold, I have loved you with an everlasting love." Take that in. When you really take that in, things shift. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Just think about this. The entire love potential of God is within you, all around you, all the time. And it is that awakening that we live in love all the time. Many years ago, before I met my husband, I was trying out the dating scene. I really did not like that time in my life. And I was dating men that were just not my vibrational match. They didn't get it when I'd say, you know what, we're not a vibrational match. And they're like, what? What does that mean? And I was looking for love out there to complete me. And if I haven't said this before, let me just reiterate. The most dysfunctional line in any movie anywhere is Jerry Maguire, you complete me. Hello. It is, and people fell for it. That's what it was like, oh, I can't believe this. My friends, there is only one who will complete you. Because you are, there's no one else out there that will complete you. There is no one outside of you that will complete you because you already are complete. You're whole right here, right now. So at that time, when I was going through the dating scene, I thought, okay, let's get back to principle. I teach this stuff. I might as well practice it. If I am made in the image and likeness of God, then that means I am love. God is love. I am love. Then love is who I am, and I can experience that love inside of myself whenever I want. That's what I told myself, and then I told myself, alrighty then, remember a time when I was in love. And I remembered my boyfriend, Mark Ross, who has since passed away, but I so loved him. He was my first love in high school. Oh my gosh. Remember your first love, anybody in here? And I remembered my first true love. So I tuned into that love, and I thought to myself, oh, this feeling for Mark, it's my love. It's coming from me. He wasn't in the room unless he was like a little spirit angel, but he wasn't in the room. At that moment, that love was coming from me. It was mine. And I could feel it regardless of who I was with or not. I was all by myself, just radiating being in love. How many of you remember being in love, right? All hands should go up, whether it's for a person or a pet, but we've all been in love. And what I want you to know is when you were in love, or when you are in love, you are actually, it's coming from you. It's not that other person. I was all by myself. I had a great moment, a keyhole experience of awakening to my true nature. And I didn't come back the same from that experience. I understood what our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, said when he said, this God life is a holy impulse, furnishing the energy by which all things live and move and have their being. You see, you don't have to create love. It's already here. It's like the story of the fish who's swimming around in water, asking, can you help me find water? It's exactly the same thing. You live, you move, you have your being in the pure essence of God's love. And normally we think of it as a stream of emotion between 2 points, between you and whoever else might be that you love. People normally walk around with their begging bowls to be loved when actually they are love. When you come to the realization that it is coming from you, you stop being a love beggar, right? Have you seen people love beggars? They go, please, please, please love me, love me. And they don't know that they are love philanthropists. That is who you are. You're a love philanthropist. Instead of looking at every interaction as a potential source of love, something you get from another person, you are the source of your own true essence. Love is something that you radiate from within, out. You are a self-contained love unit. In fact, when you leave here today, you can tell people, hi, I'm a love unit. So at that time, when I was going through my little dating experience, I made this my daily practice. I am in love. I'm in love. I radiate love. That's who I am. I'm God. I am in love. And once I awakened to being the generator of being in love, people kept asking me, have you met someone? You look like you're in love. I would say, well, not yet, but I am in love. You know, that glow that people get when they meet their love, you know. And so it was then that I met my darling Steve. He was my vibrational match. And I could finally say, hey, you're my vibrational match. But here's the key that we must always remember. Love doesn't happen when they show up. Love doesn't happen when someone else out there shows up. Love isn't about fixing other people or having people fix you. Love doesn't fix. Love loves. You come into every interaction with people radiating love because you are the source. That's who you are. That's your true nature. You are the one in control of your own experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, I've never had a great moment. I would have to say, au contraire, my friend, au contraire. You have had those experiences. It might have been a fleeting moment, or it might have been for a long period of time where you saw through the keyhole of truth. I have talked to some of you, actually, where you have read a book and you've had a great moment. You've had that great moment, and you were never the same. How many of you have had that experience? I know a number of you have. Some of you have woken up from dreams where you had that keyhole moment and you were never the same. Some of you have been sitting right here at Unity of Santa Barbara and you had that keyhole moment, that great moment, and you've never been the same. Every single one of us have had the great moment that changes us at depth, and we were never the same. So if we were to dissect the great moment and ask, how does one actually experience it? How does one get there? Well, the answer is simple, but not easy, because it means to be conscious. To be conscious. Each person has had different paths, such as what we just talked about, books, maybe the birth of a child or a dream. It seems to me, however, that there are a couple of specific qualities that can bring on this experience. And one, being in the moment, just being in the moment. Just as a side note, I read this the other day, researchers have found that one of the top 10 addictions in our society today is, you know what it is? Cell phones. Who said that? Somebody really smart. A lot of you smart people here. Yes, our cell phones take us away from, right here, right now, right? However, I don't know about you, if you have ever left your phone at home by mistake. Anybody ever done that before? And you're in a panic. You actually turn around to get it back. I grew up at a time when phones were actually attached to the wall, and it was okay to leave them there. So we're funny creatures, aren't we? You see, you're right now, this now moment is no ordinary moment. The allness of God is in this one moment. The love of God is in this one moment. Now, the great love of God loves you immensely right now. When? Now. Right now. And then again now. And then now. And then now. And then now. That love of God loves you immensely. Just God, nothing else. Now, the second quality that I think I'm guessing here, but I'm just dissecting, if you will, that seems to be a part of this great moment is that there's no chatter in your mind. What if right now you became aware of the chatter in your mind, which is going on all the time? It never takes a rest. 24 hours a day, chatter, 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 chatter. The voice wants to label people, places, things. It wants to judge, wants to just... That's all it does. It's just having a conversation always. Have you noticed that? Yes. Could you ask, just for a moment, just ask the inner chatter, pardon me, for a moment, would you be quiet for a moment so that I can experience God right now? My friends, it's as simple as that. When you do this, it shocks that voice into actually being quiet for a moment so that the great moment can be experienced. Now I know that Valentine's Day is this week, and Valentine's Day can be full of unrealistic, unnecessary expectations. Personally, I'm not a fan of how society has made it into one of the most dysfunctional days of the year. Hello. But that's just my judgment, my ministerial judgment. You don't have to join me in that. So instead of insisting that someone else outside of you fulfill your hopes and your dreams, what if you were to be your own best Valentine? Taking the words from the well-known author and Unity minister Eric Butterworth, I love this, a true truth student will take frequent meditation times to get centered with the realization, I have loved you with an everlasting love. And you get the feeling of this divine celebration rushing and streaming, pouring into you from all sides, and then you make the commitment to make your day and every relation in it your very personal celebration of love. I love that. My friends, when you turn your love light on, it's like turning a light on in a dark room, and others that are in that room with you may not know what just happened, but they know that they see more clearly, and they begin to do the same. What the world needs now is love, more love. Turn on your light, your love light. So let's just have a direct experience of this. I'm going to ask you if you will just close your eyes. I want you to just let yourself think of a moment and of the ideas the scriptures has put it. Behold, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Just take that in. Behold, I have loved you with an everlasting love. That love of God is rushing, streaming, pouring into you from all sides. Each one of us have turned on our love light here today. And so if there is anyone here that may not feel like they are loved, we've done that for you. We've turned on the love light. Just allow us to hold that for you. All the love of the universe is poured out upon you. And so with that, dear God, we say thank you for loving each one of us with an everlasting love. And so it is. Can I get an amen? Amen. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you.